Hi, everyone. We're just seeing everyone load into the session, so we'll start in a moment. Just give everyone a chance as we open up. All right, just letting everyone in. There's a few people here today, so it's just going to take us a little bit of time. Okay. Fantastic. Looks like we've stabilized. So I will begin. It's lovely to have you all here today. My name is Caitlin, and I'm one of the deputy managers in the CBE Careers Employability team. So today we have several of the team members from Pactera. They are the organisation helping us launch this particular project for you, the CBE Analytics Plus project. So today they'll be going through all the information to do with the project, what it actually looks like, how you'll do it, how it will function, things like that. So just a bit of housekeeping. We will be using the Q&A function for today's session if you have any questions. So I do encourage you to listen to the whole session first before you bring any questions in. But on the other hand, if they do occur to you and you're worried about forgetting them later, do feel free to use the function right away. Now, this session is recorded and will be placed up on the website, hopefully by tomorrow morning. So you can rewatch this again before you make your application. As an FYI, and we'll touch on this as well towards the end of the presentation, applications close 11:59 p.m. on the 21st of May, so a couple of weeks' time now. So with that, I'll stop talking and hand it over to Bridget. Thanks, Bridget.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. It's really lovely to be with you, and we're really excited about this particular program. So we'll take a bit of time to talk you through it, talk you through the expectations, the type of support that's available as you go through it. And as it was discussed, we can take some questions at the end as well. So the ANU CBE Analytics Plus is a 3-week, 100-hour remote work experience where teams of students, so yourselves, are going to use data to provide business recommendations for real organisations. So the program dates there are the 19th of June through to the 7th of July. Orientation plus an AWS workshop is going to be on the 14th of June. We're just still confirming the time for that. And then the client briefing session will be on the 19th of June, 3 o'clock till 4:30. So just make sure that you're available during those times as well. What will you be doing? So you will work with your team to identify growth opportunities for your client. And this could be through a number of different ways. You could identify the current customer base, and then based on that information, future growth opportunities. You could do market analysis and data collection. Well, you will, in fact, do that. You're going to use exploratory data and pre-processing to use the traditional techniques such as statistical analysis. So a lot of you will have already experienced using statistical analysis in potentially other areas. This is just applying it for this particular project. You then need to validate your results, and we're going to ask you to show what you've done and show what you've found using cluster graphs. So using something that comes up like that. And then based on your analysis, you will provide recommendations to your organization. So that's a very basic kind of project that we could be doing, and it will be something along those lines. So the process itself, the first thing, whoa, my slide's moving quickly. The first thing you're going to be asked to do is to develop a project plan, and there will be a template for you to do this on Pactera. So the purpose of the project plan is really to be clear on the roles and the responsibilities that each person's going to have as you do work your way through the project, and then also to map out a bit of a timeline and a deliverable, and that's to keep you on track. You'll pop in the meetings that you're going to have with your mentor and your client, and it's something you can then share with your client so everyone knows what to expect and when. So following that, you will be asked to do a draft and then final report, and you will be asked to do a presentation of your findings to your client. We will give you some support on how to undertake data analytics and that will be done in 2 ways. So the first one will be a workshop that is delivered by AWS. It'll be about 1.5 to 2 hours, and it will be interactive using their cloud tools. So we're going to teach you how to use some of the tools that you're going to need to be successful in this project. Second to that is you're going to have access to an alternate learning source, which will have all sorts of different modules and little bits and pieces that will help support you along the way as well. So we're conscious that some of you will have experience in this field and some of you might not. So there will be some very foundational entry-level type modules that will help you. And then there'll be some additional ones that will help extend your knowledge if you already do have that. Either way, you don't need to be an expert to undertake this project. And it is really about getting a feel for the area and maybe applying something that you know or learning something new. So complicated problems require a team of experts, and we use Tiger team philosophy to get you into the right teams. So you don't get to choose who is in your team. Your team is going to be based on your client's project needs and to foster diversity and inclusion. This means we base it on your background, your gender, your location, your level of study, all those bits and pieces. We do this type of teaming because we know that diverse teams make better decisions up to 87% of the time, and that is a lot. So we want the best possible result for your client, and we also want an opportunity for you to develop as a professional. It's also why Tiger teams are a very effective mechanism to solve problems. So as we were talking about, a Tiger team is a specialized cross-functional project team, and it's brought together to solve or investigate a specific problem or critical issue. So this is what your client is going to have for you. And because it is such a short period of time that you will be doing this, it's really about getting as much of an expertise together as we possibly can. So small agile teams like this are generally what small organizations use to solve many of their biggest issues. Even though we're putting together a team of specialists, each person is going to have a really broad range of skills. And by building a team like this, which is sort of like the best of the best, it's how we work out that skills gaps and blind spots are reduced and agility of the team is increased. So when you are placed into teams like this, it's really important that you discuss the areas that you're most interested in, the level of expertise that you might have in a certain area, and make sure that you are aligned to the best fit for the role. So these are some of the organizations that we already have signed on. So you could be working with NAB, ACODIS, Impact League is actually the organization there. Impact Business School is run by Impact League. And these are some of the organizations that we have worked with in the past, just to give you an idea of the breadth that we do work with. So we have some of the larger ones like Australia Post or Bupa. We've got some SMEs, so the small to medium enterprises in the middle there. And we also have some startups. So there's a broad range of people that are looking for assistance from talented individuals like yourselves. This is how it works. So you will have, prior to week 1, so O week, you're basically going to receive your project brief. You will meet as a team and you will kind of get organized, set up all your channels and your bits and pieces. The deliverable that you will need to do in week 1 is your project plan. You will then have a project draft report due. And that might be an MVP of the graph even that you're trying to present. Week 3 is your final report and your presentation to your client. So it is quite quick, but you do have quite a bit of time to work together across that period. So we're going to ask you to commit to 100 hours across that 3 weeks. Now, the 100 hours includes any meetings that you might have, any workshops that we are asked to attend, any research that you do, so it actually gets sucked up pretty quickly. You will need to submit those 3 project deliverables. So you do the project plan, the draft report or MVP, the final report. You will need to work both independently and as part of a team, and that's going to be self-directed. So you generally need to keep yourselves on track there. The other thing you will need to do is that presentation. So you do need to then present your findings at the end, which is also included in those hours. It is up to you to decide how you are going to spread those hours and who is going to do what within it. So some people are going to have a better ability to do It might be the graphic parts of the presentation. Other people are going to be better suited to research. Some people are going to be better suited to doing the actual graphing. So it's part of having that conversation as well. You will have mentors that work with you, and they are there to support you throughout. So they're your people. They're there to support your team. They will review any of the drafts that you do before it goes to your client, and they're going to give you some coaching before the presentation as well. And then we have your clients. So the organization that you're going to be working with are the ones that have provided that industry project for you. They will attend any team meetings, obviously the client briefing at the beginning where you get that full understanding, but some additional meetings across that period as well. And they're also there to give you feedback throughout. So once they do provide you with the feedback, it's really important that you incorporate that feedback into your next iteration and onwards. So you will be doing this on a platform called Practera. So the Practera workspace is a web-based app. So you don't download it from the App Store. It is a user-friendly platform, and it guides you and your team through your project. So it is where you will submit your deliverables. It's where you're going to get your client and mentor feedback. It's also where you're going to reflect and develop your skills based on the feedback that you have received. The Practera workspace is home to a huge number of resources, such as the videos, templates, on topics such as project management, time management. There's other helpful tools that you can use in there as well. You'll be asked to work through the deliverables and certain milestones as you go through this project. Make sure that you do go through and submit everything that you need to and click off everything that you need to. The final badge and certificate that you'll receive at the end will only be issued if all of this is completed on the platform. Why should you participate? Well, to be successful in your project and really in your career, you're going to need to call on many different types of skills. And it's not just the technical ones that you've been studying at uni. You're going to need to receive feedback from your clients and peers, and you're going to need to know how to implement that. So combining all of that together is going to help you deliver some really valuable insights for your client. So completing project work experiences like this will also provide you with something to talk about at interviews. And no experience will be the same, but they are all going to provide you with a way of demonstrating your employability skills. And employability skills are things like communication skills, teamwork, the interpersonal skills as well, which is problem solving, adaptability, decision-making, collaboration, keeping calm under pressure. All of those skills are things that recruiters look for. So we know that employers assess candidates up to 100% of the time on their communication skills. It's 98% for teamwork, 97% for all the rest of it. So having experiences like this is a really great way of demonstrating that you not only have these skills, but you know how to apply these skills. And skills like leadership, critical thinking, and communication were also identified as the most important skills in the next 5 years. And most interestingly to me is that Australian businesses said they'd be willing to pay 7% more for workers with these skills. And that's because there's a gap with people who can do this. So participating in experiences like this, you'll have the opportunity to apply your technical skills, develop your employability skills, and contribute to solving a real world challenge for your client. It's going to provide you with evidence of the skills which can be used at your interviews, on your CV, and in your e-portfolio. The digital badge and certificate is something that is going to be issued to you at the end of the 3 weeks. So it's once you have completed all of the milestones on Practera, once you have delivered all the things that you need to for your client, and once you have also done the feedback survey. So we also take feedback very seriously, and it's something that we use to improve the experiences that you're having. So you must commit to that 100 hours. You have to attend the orientation and the client briefing sessions, and you must make sure that you submit all of the team and individual deliverables. So your key dates, you must register, and this was mentioned, by the 21st of May at 11:59, and that's Australian Eastern Standard. The virtual orientation session will be on the 14th of June. We did have it, and it will be around that time. We're just double checking with AWS about that workshop time now as well. The client briefing is on the 19th of June from 3 till 4:30, and the project delivery itself is the 19th of June to the 7th of July. So you do need to be available for all of those dates and times. That is where you go to register. So you are welcome to QR code that, and you should be able to go straight there and register now if you like, and I'll leave that up for a sec. But I'm also happy to take any additional questions.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Bridget. That's great. We can leave that up for a second. I have a couple of questions that have come through already that I think would be good to address as a whole. A recording will be made available on the website by tomorrow morning, mid-morning at the latest. So do keep a lookout for that. And now, Bridget, in our application, there's been a question raised about that, which I'll answer, so I'm sorry. A question to answer myself. So at the moment, there is in the application the eligibility criteria to be current CBE students. So on a case-by-case basis, we may be able to consider students who are graduating at the end of this semester. So we have a finite number of places available in this program, basically. So I just recommend that you apply, and we'll look at your application, as I say, on a case-by-case basis. So it's always worth the applying, I think. So I have a question here. When would we get to know the outcome of our application? Sorry, Bridget, a question for me as well. We're looking at having outcomes by the 24th of May. So it will be a very quick turnaround. So you'll know sooner rather than later whether you've been successful at getting in. Again, Bridget, another question for me, really sorry. Oh my gosh. Is this a competitive selection project? If so, could I have some suggestions to excel in my application? To a degree, it is competitive. You know, as I said, we have a finite number of places available. I have no particular suggestions to make your application any more successful than anyone else's. I would just say to you know, devote some good time to it. You know, we have questions that require, you know, video response, that require long response. So give yourself enough time to do it. It's not a last minute job with everything else you've got going on. I think everyone here would agree. Don't leave things like this to the last minute. So hopefully that helps. Again, how to increase the chance of getting into this program. I think I've answered that. I would just do your very best, okay? Give the proper time to the questions at hand and get it in on time. Can students with little knowledge of data analysis apply for this project? I would say yes, Bridget. Would that be your
Yes. Yeah, we are deliberately building in modules and workshops to support students that have less perhaps knowledge in that area and I'm just interested in giving it a go. The teams, just to be clear, the teams will be made up of a combination of that too. So you might have some people who have more experience within the teams with some people who have less. In this space, it doesn't mean there's not strengths in other areas. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is kind of a question I think for you, Bridget, because I can only guess at what the answer would be. May I ask whether the availability in the last week of the project means needing to be physically located in Canberra, or is it okay to be remotely available?
It is okay to be remotely available. Yeah. So yes, this is an online project and you just need to communicate with your team around your availability and what you can contribute.
Fantastic. And that goes to another question I had earlier in the session. If you're a person who is, you know, available to a certain point, say the end of June, and then you can't really, because you're away, you can't participate in the rest of that time, would you recommend that person apply for the project, Bridget? If that makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah,
it does. That's tricky because you are working with other people. So you need to ensure that you would be able to meet the 100 hours that is required of the program. You need to be able to make sure that you contribute your fair share to that part and that your teammates are happy for you to be perhaps less available in the later part of it. That's
Yeah.
more of a team question. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would just be, if you're aware of what your where you're meant to be at any certain time and your other commitments, just be really upfront with yourself, number one, and then with your potential teammates, and then actual teammates if you decide to go ahead with it, about what you can commit to or not. So I think it's just, that's kind of working right and being part of it at the team, and the skills that we help you develop with this project, but they're also a little bit basic kind of innate foundational stuff as well. So just think on that a little before you apply. So is this a question for me? I'm currently in my first semester, so I don't have any grades to show. Does that decrease your chance of getting accepted? No, but we do have an eligibility criteria about having to complete at least a certain amount of subjects, and that's all up on the website and in the application form itself. Any requirements for a major? No, not at all. You just have to be a current CBE student, as well as doing either an undergrad or a postgrad or an honours year or a HDR student. So we will take all of those, but no particular discipline or major is required. Another question for me, sorry everyone. This looks like an interesting course, opportunity, but I'll be away at this time of year. What will CBE be running? Will CBE be running this again? So I think everyone here will kind of know the answer to that to a degree. At the end of the year, we'll be running what we call the virtual internship or industry experience. And that is a very similar offering. It is slightly shorter in time, 3 weeks, but 50 hours. And it is, I would say, more broad, right, Bridget? Not kind of hyper-focused. It's a lot more
Correct.
broad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will have that offering at the end of the year, and you can kind of keep your eye out for that. Okay. Sorry, everyone, just reading through the questions. Okay. Is this an online program, Bridget?
Yes. Yes, it is. So the idea of this is that you can do it from wherever you are, whenever you are. So it is accessible through your mobile phone. It is accessible via computer. You don't need to be anywhere in particular. You just need to commit the time to your fellow teammates and to your client.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. So this is a good question. There's a person here who has an exam at the same time as the 14th of June orientation session. What should they do? Like, is it like a must that they attend the orientation, or is there something, or is that a good enough excuse to miss it?
It is a good enough excuse. Yes, you just need to let us know in advance. So something like that, we will record the orientation session, but you do need to have an excuse like an exam. It has to be something pretty serious to miss out on that. But yes, that's fine. Just let us know in advance and we can make sure that you're still recorded as attended, basically.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you. Yeah. An exam feels like a pretty good one, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd rather be doing, not the exam, but that is a must. No, we all have to do exams. Perfect. Okay, it looks like questions have slowed down for the most part. So I do have a question here. Can international students participate in the project? Absolutely. And I'm shouting that in capital letters. Absolutely. International students, domestic students, it's absolutely fine. As long as you're a CBE student and doing one of those, UG study, PG study, honours, or HDR, you're more than welcome to apply. And if you're successful, undertake the project. It's absolutely fine. I have a question here. Sorry, everyone. Could honours and HDR students join the program? As I mentioned before, absolutely. The eligibility criteria is on the website. Just to confirm, the first year / first semester students are considered. So as long as you've completed your first semester of study and you've completed a full study load, that is 4 subjects throughout the first semester, you will be considered. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Bridget, one for you. Do we need to form a group? We kind of went over that a little.
No, we form your groups. So we also are very conscious of it's a team, not a group. So a group is something you might use for your university studies within the workspace. It is a team that you'll be working with, and we form it based on the needs of your client.
Perfect. Perfect. So I have a question here. Can we join the program online?
Yes, it is. Yes. Yes, you can. It is an online program.
Yes. It's entirely virtual, entirely digital, online, whatever you want to call it. You'll need a computer. Yes.
Yes.
And Zoom and all those sorts of lovely things. So yes, it is entirely virtual. Perfect. Okay, let me just check if we've got any other questions. So yes, I think I answered that question about graduating students earlier in the session, earlier in the Q&A part of the session. So all I would say is, as I said, we have finite places for this project. Apply if you are a graduating student, but generally this is an offer for current CBE students. And as you're graduating, that obviously becomes a bit murky. So that's why I say case by case basis, we will consider it. So please apply. That's all I have to say for that one. Yeah. So hopefully that answers that. I think we've done them all. Oh my gosh.
Stop sharing for a minute.
Yeah. But everyone, you'll receive an email the next day or so with directions on where to apply. As I say, I'd encourage everyone to apply unless they're not a CBE student. So in the first instance, if you're a CBE student, please apply. Give the application the time it deserves, not a last minute job. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything. We've got no other questions at this point. I'll just do a double check. Perfect. If we might end it in a couple of minutes, but if anyone has any further questions, you're very welcome to email Enrica at the careers inbox. And again, you'll receive this information. You can go on the website. You'll know how to get to us if you have any further questions. So I do just really encourage you to send us any that you have, particularly if they're, to do with your personal situation. It's always good to kind of address those one-on-one. I've just had another question come through. Okay. How many words should I write to answer the questions in the applications? As many as you feel you need to get your point across. So I know that's not very helpful. Everyone's like, oh no, why? But it needn't be an essay. We're certainly not expecting that, particularly with all the work you've got on already with your uni work. But again, give it the proper time that it needs, give it the dedication that it needs. So, potentially this will be a really competitive program to get into. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So do the best that you can. Give it that proper time. Okay. I've had no other questions come through, so we might leave it at that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. Oh, before we go, someone snuck in with a question. Bridget, for you, yay. It's me talking. Sorry, everyone. Can we choose the client to work with, or will my preference be considered?
No, it won't. So we choose the teams again, and it's based on your background, on diversity of people and the project type and the needs of your client. So yeah, you don't get a choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, perfect. No, and sometimes that adds to our resilience, right? So
it does.
Perfect. We love that. We love that. Fantastic. We'll close it off now, everyone. Any questions? The careers inbox is the place to go on that last slide there. The website as well will direct you to that. There'll be an email coming out in the next couple of days with regards to all this, so you can get us there as well. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Bridget. And thank you, Wesley. And thank you, Keisha.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.